Your average Joe, average guy with an average load, just trying not to crash on average road. Oh, Billy, I'd have you know, look, your stamina grows when you battle a foe. Yo, you gotta climb no matter the slope. So go saddle up, grab your paddle and row and join rows of greats who all rose in the face of opposing tanks. Look at those with no restraint who got roses thrown because they chose their fates. Don't be the same pawn who's always finding somebody to put the blame on. You can drop bombs, being James Bond. Billy, all you gotta do is get your game on.
Game on, baby. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Glad you're all here. There we go. Another beautiful day. And hey, we just had our Invest Edge on Monday evening. I saw a lot of clips and different things that people have already put up around that. So trying to tell everybody good job on that. And to keep building for those. These Invest Edge deals are supposed to be guest oriented. So let me show you what I'm seeing here. With Ben Kajar, I don't know how to say his last name. Anyway, 188 views. Kajar. There we go. 205 views, 293 views. Why is there 2 for Bill Omi? Oh, that's Anthony Lobo. I thought that was Bill Omi. That's so funny. My mistake. Okay. Well, here we are. June. We got our countdown. We have our mission, which I told you about. Making the E3 in October be the most profitable event we've ever put on. Pronounced care. Got it. Learning every day. So how are we going to accomplish our goal? The goal is getting 750 people to the conference in October. We might be able to squeeze in some more, but that's the capacity of the room, supposedly. There is one wall that could come down, and we could fit more people in. So anyway, this is what I'm working on. This is what I encourage all of you to work on. Get your plane ticket, get your schedule arranged. Take that whole week off of work if you have a job, or whatever your schedule is. Get that whole week off of work. October 23rd, 24th, and 25th is going to be the event. But if you come a few days before, stay a few days after, you'll be able to maximize on that whole experience.
What's the venue?
The Sheraton, downtown, Salt Lake City.
Oh.
Yeah, I have.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Lots of parking.
Yeah, that'll definitely. And then being downtown is a lot more fun than being in Centerville or Layton anyway. So, we are going to be responsible for our own room blocks. So say you want to bring 10 of your own peeps, you need to go lock down 10 rooms. Corporate got the spot, but we, Renatus negotiated free parking. That's awesome. But yeah, Jay Stark sent me contact info for the lady down there to get the room block discount and, you know, to lock in any others you might need. So I'll drop that in the chat here. There we go. Lehigh Falapapalangi. Wow. It's a combination of names. You got Lehigh. I can't tell if that's Polynesian or Greek. All right, so there's the info. Sheraton, Lehigh got the content. Awesome. So anyway, with the Renatus Invest Edge expanding, I think we're on episode 17 now. We got round 2 of the E3 coming. Got season 4 of the Flip Challenge is happening tomorrow. And remember, it's twofold. And you can use this Flip Challenge several ways. Be responsible with it. Do what you say what you do, follow up on your word. But it's, you know, it's an add-on. It's a bag of extras. It's a value add so that people can justify their yes a lot faster. So when we're showing everybody classes, coaching, training, workshops, community, all these things, give them the price, and then they have this set amount and this perspective, and then we throw challenge on top of that. Well, the challenge is $600, right? It's more money, but it's way more value. So what you could do is say, hey, if you decide to jump in, become a Renatus student, just like me, buy your education, I will pay for your challenge ticket so that you can join. I want you to get the most benefit out of it. And, you know, think about that. If you're getting 12 grand, you pay 600 for their challenge ticket. It shows camaraderie. It shows trust. It shows leadership in a sense. And then there's no excuse. They just got an extra value add-on with a deadline. So TikTok, get it going. Who here has already done the challenge at least once? At least one time. Some of you, maybe you're afraid of the challenge. I don't know. Ben, didn't you do the challenge?
I did, but I could never find the damn hand raise.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So we got some new people on the line who haven't done it before. Do you have any tips or just to do it, don't do it, be prepared, crap your pants? What do you say about this whole thing?
Study. Block your time to study. That was the hardest part of the entire challenge, was getting through the education. And now that they've added a few more classes, which it's good, but it just makes the study time that much more important. And 2 hours a day, I didn't, you know, a lot of people allocated 2 hours a day. I felt that that was not enough time to, you know, to do it. So yeah, the study portion and the amount of knowledge you're going to get is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
All right, folks. So you heard it, not from me, but from Ben. Get after it. Now, one thing I want to acknowledge and
Hey,
thank
Michael.
Ben for. Yes, go ahead.
Can I add something? This is Josh from Salt Lake.
Go ahead, sir.
I've not done the challenge, but I've been around it a lot. And there's a lot of people in there that are really taking off, and they have found every single resource inside of challenge. Every
Awesome.
single one.
Yeah, don't you have a rock star student who's done like 50 deals or something like that in the last 2 years?
Alinda Rowley Jensen.
So she's a part of the challenge, or at least the last one, right?
She did the challenge, but she's far exceeding. She's going so fast now. She gained so much from the challenge that she's just on a rampage now. Like
Beautiful.
deals. She wakes up and deals are in her phone, and
Folks,
it's because you know she's been in Renatus for 3 years, and yeah, she's done really well. But when she got into the challenge and met those people and was available to those resources, she is now she's killing it. Her dreams are coming true.
yeah, she's doing like a deal a month, sometimes a deal a week, something like that. So, but she was
Pretty
in for
much a deal a week. Pretty much a deal a week right now.
nice.
Like she's gonna have to start slowing down.
Right. Yeah, I
So
know. And that's the thing, right? We do all this work usually for our family, and she just had a granddaughter, so she's about to go spend a lot of time with the baby and her daughter. And so she's like, what a blessing this real estate thing is in my life, because I can come and go as I need to based off of my schedule.
yeah, she
So
started her own motorcycle club, dude.
nice.
And they all just go on rides, and she's helping them all be successful too. So get in the challenge, and the stuff you're gonna learn is unreal. And get, like Michael said, if if you're selling education or bringing people in, and they buy a combo, get them in that, because everybody needs what Mitch and Maylee's put together. I mean, the education is one thing, and it's tailored to you, but this fix and flip challenge, you're not just going to find fix and flips resources. You're going to find resources for your business to grow into the next decade.
And that's what we need. You've seen this big, some people calling it beautiful, some people calling it ugly bill that is being proposed right now at Congress. Is going to raise our debt as a country 5 trillion more. And so if you don't have things to counteract that, I'll just be plain with my language, that robbery, if you don't have something to counteract that robbery and you just have a job or you just have your 401k and you hope, anyone who's not doing real estate, buying gold, buying Bitcoin, or buying oil, they're host. If you don't own an asset, see, that's the thing. When it's my turn, I know Daine's on his way, so we're gonna let Daine talk. But when it's my turn, we're gonna get out some more charts. You guys like the charts and the drawings on the charts lately? Because the thing on a surface level, printing money looks helpful. Hey, we need to stimulate the economy. We need to lubricate the machine and keep everything flowing. So they need money, and the money just exchanges hands, and everybody seems like it's lubrication for the system. But what ends up happening is because more money is being injected into the system, it's diluting the current dollars. So the people who hold an asset, house, gold, stocks, even US treasuries, but the point is that if you hold an asset and then they start printing money, just money printer on, the people who hold the asset are protected because the number of dollars that are being printed are being absorbed by the asset. So it looks like the asset is going up in value in relation to everything else going down. So over the next 6 months to 3 years, they're going to print so many more trillions of dollars. We say trillion now, and it sounds normal because we've been saying trillion as a society for a decade, but $1 trillion is not normal. There is something wrong with the math if we have to go to trillion. So my point is, over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to need an edge more than you have before. The stakes are getting higher. There's more money to be made, but they're printing dollars faster, so it's devaluing your asset faster, or devaluing your currency faster, raising your assets faster. It's all happening just a tad faster. So you going at it for 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, you're not going to keep up with what's going on. This is a 10 to 20 hour a week gig, and if you're not being serious about it, the old me would say, then drop out, just quit, go home and cry. but I'm new and improved. So I don't tell people to quit. I tell people to try harder, change their strategy. Maybe take a step back. Maybe you're looking at the forest and all you can see is a tree, and you need to take a step back and look at your whole situation. But it's about getting prepared. It's about getting equipped, and I really think that using this summer and getting to a point where we have that jam-packed room for E3 in October. So we spent all this summer studying, putting in offers, putting in deals, growing your network. Think about this. Over this summer, you should add 100 to 500 people to your phone book. Okay. Then by the time we get to September, we're 1 month away from the big event. Now you start recontacting all those people you made friends with over the summer and say, I'm going to this thing. Of course, you'll have more descriptive language around it, but I'm going to this workshop around real estate, wealth creation, entrepreneurship. We connected over the summer. You should come with me. Sell them a ticket, sell them a combo. Over the next 5-6 months, while you're working on your deals and preparing for this event, some of you could be making $200,000 to $500,000 in the next 6 months based off of the work you're going to consistently do. Some of you will make 20 grand, and maybe that's enough. For me, 20 grand was a revolution. My first deal paid me 21 grand, and I quit my job after that. I'm not recommending that at all, but I'm saying that even 20 grand could change everything for you. So stay focused, stay diligent. Don't let your current circumstances dictate how you think about your future. The future is exciting. The future is bright. And if it's hard for you to see that, then leverage other people's vision. One thing that was defined to me as leaders are people with further vision. Right? We're in this group. Everybody can see, but the person who can see the furthest, that's the leader. So some people can see very far down the financial road where we're going. And if you can't see that far, then borrow their vision. One person that has a long-term vision is our trainer for the day, Mr. Daine Clark. He has developed his vision over the decade that he has been in the real estate industry. And when he first got started, not such a deep vision. He just saw a couple deals in his life and a little bit of stability. But as he continued and that vision developed and his leadership developed, he can now see decades. He could see a century down the road what his life, his posterity, his portfolio, what everything's going to look like. And it's because of diligence and staying focused. If you really want to develop your vision, it takes work and focus, and not watching TV, not getting wrapped up in nonsense and time wasting, attention seeking, resource wasting activity. Daine is one of the most frugal, responsible, and generous people that I've met in our group, and I've met thousands of people. And when I see the way that he makes his financial decisions based off of either cutting expenses or gaining an income, it's tried and true. It's principle centered, and everybody wins. So that's one reason why I listen when Daine speaks, and I encourage all of you to show up and not just listen passively, but actively. You don't get a chance to interact with, get coaching, get guidance from people of Daine's caliber very easily. In one sense, you paid 30 grand for that. By the time you factor in your combo, your ICM renewals, your business builder fee, your nationals, tickets, all of that stuff, we're each investing 30 grand in a business. So I don't take it lightly that you have people like Bill, you have people like Daine, you have people all over this network of Renatus folks to train you every day. Don't take it lightly just because it's around in your world. It now seems easy, but it's 30 grand to get here. So I remember watching Daine come through. He found his money. He found his first deal. He found his second deal. Third, fourth, fifth. I go to Colorado for 6 months. I come back. He's already on his 10th, 20th, 30th deal. I go to Phoenix for 6 months. I come back. He's on his 50th, his 100th deal. I'm like, man, this guy just keeps speeding up, doing it faster and doing it in less time. So he has recently had a new addition to his family. He just had another baby. So big congrats to him and to his wife for their success in life, business, family. It's a beautiful thing to see. Many blessings of health and wealth to you, Daine. Thanks for being here. So let's give a big warm welcome to Daine Clark.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Wealth Wednesday. And yeah, sorry I was out for 2 weeks in a row. I don't think I've missed 2 weeks in a row ever since I started doing this back in, when did we go to London? But that's basically like the first time I did this.
I think that was
2019.
Yeah. Was it 19 or was it
18 or 19?
Somewhere in there.
And
we had the fancy tea parties. We got the cool hat for the ladies.
Yeah, so fun. But yeah, sorry, I had a baby and then I got like crazy sick. And so I asked Mike, I was like, hey dude, I'm really sorry, but I'm like refined. I could probably Zoom from the bathroom.
Well, congratulations, Daine. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When
Do you
did you have
mind
the
telling
baby?
us a little bit about that? The
Yeah,
story,
please.
like the week leading up to it, the day of. Tell us about it.
So we've had 5 kids now, and we have boy, 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 girl, boy.
Nice.
So a whole
A good
mess of
balance.
boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was our first home birth, actually.
You
And
did it at home?
And so yeah, we did it right in the comfort of our own home, and it was crazy because had we gone to the hospital on this one, I can almost guarantee they would have forced her to have a C-section. And because on this one, we were just like, I think it was on let's see. Yeah, it was on a Sunday, and she was just like going to the bathroom and she goes, "My water just broke." I was like, "No, it didn't." She's like, "No, I really think my water just broke." I was like, "No, honey, we've had 5 kids. Like every time all of a sudden you're like push, I got like lots and lots of contractions, and then your water like explodes, and then you have the baby." And she's like, "Yeah, but I do think my water just broke." She's like, "This is not pee." Like anyway, so we're kind of arguing back and forth, and then she's like, "But I haven't had any contractions." And I was like, "Yeah, that's why I don't think your water broke." Anyway, so over the course of the next like hour or so, like just like water is like gushing out. And she's like, "Yeah, I think my water broke." But no contractions, no active labor, no nothing. And so Sunday night, this was like 3 p.m. I guess sorry, I don't know if you guys want like the whole story, but I'll brief it up. No baby for 24 hours. And which usually in that case, if your water breaks and 24 hours later, like the hospital starts freaking out. But her midwife was just like, "No, you're fine. I'm not too worried about it." And anyway, did a whole bunch of little things and whatever techniques, and then finally was able to get labor to progress, and she had the baby at 7 p.m. on Monday night. So like 28 hours from water breaking. And we told that story to a friend of hers that was nice enough to come and watch our kids and pick them up, whatever. And she was like, "Yeah, I had a C-section because of that. My water just broke, and then no contractions, didn't progress labor, and so within 24 hours I was in getting the baby cut out of me." So super grateful that we chose to do this at one home.
Yeah.
I guess. And so anyway, crazy.
Yeah, congrats, man. Did you have a doula also or a midwife?
Yes, midwife, doula. And dude, there's a thing called an after birth doula that basically just comes and like dotes over you or over my wife and cooks meals and puts them in the fridge and freezer and knows a whole bunch of like baby care stuff and nursing and all kinds of. So like, dude, the after doula was super awesome.
That's that next level, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
All right.
super fun. But yeah, last one. I've said that for I think 3 kids now. Like, this is our last one, but she always wins this fight, obviously. But yeah, last one went out with a bang. Super fun.
Well, good for
But
you guys.
Congratulations, Dane. What's the
thank you
baby's
guys.
name?
So fun. So we went with a what do they call that? Family tree, whatever. Like we were looking in our family history, people that we'd never met or heard of or even had stories, and one of my Norwegian lines, if you will, Norwegian lines, Vikings, we saw a name called Anders, and just it was so interesting because we had all these other names, and when that one came up, we were just like, that's it. So we named him Anders Neil Clark, and stands for it basically means masculine or reliable or whatever. Let's see, yeah, masculine, reliable. There was one more, I forget, but we're just like, you know what? We just love the sound of it, and it's super unique. And that person would be my great 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 grandfather. And so, Marvel character superhero. Oh, is there an Anders? An Anders in Marvel? I was not aware of that, but that's awesome. So, but yeah, love the kid. It
And
doesn't say,
how are the babies, your other kids, reacting to the new baby?
oh, they're loving him.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's always the one that's like one step above that's like, hold up, wait a minute, like what is that?
Did was your wife still breastfeeding while the new baby was coming?
Oh no. Our second, or what would you say? The next oldest, the next kin is like 2.5 years. And so no, they're not like crazy close. So they're 2.5 years apart. But yeah, so our 2-year-old girl, it was so funny because at first she was like, oh baby, and then like noticed that my wife didn't like put the baby back or send it back. Like no, the baby's here to stay. And so my 2-year-old that like doesn't speak English, like just knows a few English words, was asking Paige like, will you put it back? Or oh, what did she say? Something to that tune. Like, are you gonna put that back? Get rid of that. So
Nice.
took her like a day or two to realize like, no, this baby's here to stay.
Wow.
But now she loves him and has realized like, oh, this is like new family. And yeah, I mean, we've just learned that you just got to make sure you're pouring love into all of them. And so they don't feel like all of a sudden they've been replaced. And so I could see that though, where had we kind of shoot her away or whatever, like, but instead we decided to embrace like no, like, do you want to hold the baby? You know, my little 2-year-old, and I'll hold you.
Yeah.
And anyway, just helped her embrace it. But yeah, all the other ones that like no, like they just love the baby. And it's so funny because they're already asking my wife, like, so when are you gonna have the next one?
Oh wow.
Oh, so funny.
Well,
But
cool, man. Well, good for you. Exciting times, living the best life, repopulating the planet. I don't know if everybody is aware of this, but we have a population issue. So
I've
any
heard.
young kids in your world, tell them to have more babies. We need to. The replacement number is 2.1, and we're at like 1.8 as a country.
Oh
So
wow.
other countries, Nigeria, they're at 3.1. They're fine.
Interesting.
I tell
Yeah.
my kids that to have a lot of kids, you know.
Yep.
Even my oldest one, because we have one grandbaby, and I tell him it's like, well, I didn't tell the kids, but told Dave, I'm like, hey, you know, the baby's not even born yet. He already has a rental property. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So,
Yeah. One rental per kid
yeah,
minimum.
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for the update. We have a couple new people on. We got some returning folks. So, yeah, we're just excited about the summer, the challenge that's coming up. the E3 that was announced for October. So that'll be basically regionals, like, nationals 2.0.
Nice.
And so building for that, doing the challenge. ATM just wrapped up, and it's summertime, baby. Let's get to work.
Nice. It is the time. Oh my goodness, it is in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been having conversations galore with people that are just like, all right, this is it. Like it reminds me of me 10 years ago. Well, I guess I joined Renatus 10 years. It reminds me of me 9 years ago. This was basically my first summer because I joined Renatus in November. And so 9 years ago would have been my first summer as a Renatus student. And like this was the time that I was like, this is it. We are going for it. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are just like this is their first summer that they're doing this. I was just talking to a guy yesterday, and if we have time, maybe I'll show the Facebook post. But he posted on a business group on Facebook. Like we're not friends or anything, but we're just members of the same business group on Facebook. And he posted day one of 365, making $250,000 in real estate. He's a realtor, and then he put like calls 7, or sorry, phone calls 15, like calls made, I guess, dials 15, calls, conversations 7, like something to 0. And anyway, so yeah, he put all of his key indicators on this Facebook post. And I was just like, oh, goodness. Like this was me 9 years ago. Like, just all right, this is what we're doing. Gonna have this many phone calls, gonna talk to this many people, have this many conversations. Like we got it, like we're going for it. And I could not help. Like I literally could not contain myself when I saw him post on this Facebook post. And so I was like commenting, like, dude, I envy you, man. I envy that time of my, like, oh, remembering that 9 year. Like I will never have that again because I did it once and everyone has to do it once. So I will literally never have that again because nowadays I can just pick up the phone and raise millions of dollars. Like nowadays I can just pick up the phone and find a real estate deal. Like it is so interesting the difference between 9 years ago and today because I did that. Because I decided that the 400 contacts in my phone was not enough. I need 1,000 more, however many, and that all conversations, all wealth is built through conversation. And so I was like rooting for this guy. I was like, yeah, dude, like I'll buy a house through you. And so he calls me and we talked yesterday, and anyway, swapping stories basically, and it's just like, dude, it is literally me 9 years ago, where he's just like, yeah, dude, I've been in this for a while. Well, he's been a realtor for 5 years, and he's like, yeah, I've just been hemming and hawing and whatever, and he's like, it's time that I just take charge of my life. And I was just like, holy crap, dude, good for you. Anyway, so we start talking, and all of a sudden, I mean, you guys know it. All wealth is built through conversation. I'm not gonna pass up an opportunity, and so I'm talking to him about real estate deals and investors and he's just like soaking it up, like all this. I love asking people the question, like, oh, has this ever happened to you? As a real estate professional, has this ever happened to you? He's like, oh my gosh, this is happening to me right now. I ask him the question, like, hey, you ever have business owners that are trying to close real estate, but the bank is, for lack of a better term, flipping them the bird? And he's just like, this is literally happening to me right now. And so let's talk about it. And so we start talking about this person that he's trying to help, and I swear there was 2 of them. Oh, and then he goes, oh, and flipping houses. There's a house right down the road from me, and I keep watching it. And anyway, so we've been emailing back and forth now, talking about deals, and so yeah, like all of a sudden I've got another realtor that arguably on my team without me saying the words on my team. Like we just became friends, swapped stories back and forth, and I asked him those kind of questions, like, hey, have you run into this yet? Because I guarantee you will, if you're in the mode where you're like, I'm gonna have this many phone calls and talk to this many people, I guarantee it's a matter of time. Same thing for Renatus student. Like, obviously I wasn't a realtor when I started this I'm not even a realtor today. And so my dialing for dollars was all for Renatus students because I was a ICM. And so, or I am an ICM. And so that was my journey, if you will. But for him, he's obviously a realtor. So that's what he's going for. But the same thing with Renatus students. Like, I guarantee you're going to run into people like this. I guarantee you're going to have people, that say, oh yeah, like I want to get into real estate, but I want to be passive. I want to get into real estate, but I want to be active. I don't want to get into real estate. Actually, I hate real estate because my piece of junk, ugly house is a pain in my behind and I got to get rid of it. So you're going to buy their house. And so it's just a matter of time. Anyway, so now I've got a realtor on my team, another realtor that is ambitious, excited. And I was just sitting here thinking like, man, had I done that 9 years ago, had I had the mindset I have today 9 years ago, and obviously things would be different. I had to develop it. But had I had that mindset that every single human can be on my team, maybe not like necessarily like my team as employees, but like just on my team, like we're all in this together. Had I had that mindset that it doesn't matter what their goals are. If they want to be a realtor, be a realtor. If they don't want to be a Renatus student, that's okay. Be a realtor. But let's keep talking. Let's update each other on what we're doing. Like, if I was new and I had that conversation, oh my gosh, like that could have led to my first deal. That, those kind of conversations. So anyway, super excited for this kid. And it's funny because I used language like, oh yeah, like as an investor, like some realtors don't like him, but because it's a grind. Like, it is definitely a grind. But I'll tell you right now that like I've had those realtors that have brought me 9, 10 deals in a row, and I bought every single one within a 1-year span. And so that one realtor got 9 commissions off of just me. And I could tell that he was just like, well, I'm ambitious, because I kind of made it hard to get like that. Saying it that way is like, yeah, like not everybody wants to do this. Not everybody wants to work this hard. But this is what hardworking people do, and this is how I've done it, and this is what people have done with me. And all of a sudden, he's just like poking out his chest, like, well, I'm working hard, like I'm getting started. So, I mean, just awesome, absolutely awesome. And I applaud the kid. And I hope we do something together. Anyway. And so then he posts on Facebook, or sorry, yeah, we had the conversation. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah, so we talked yesterday. He posts last night on that same Facebook group, and he gives me a shout out. And it was awesome to see a bunch of people jump in on the comments like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I know Daine." This is not a real estate group. It's just a business group in Utah. What do they call it? Connect Utah. And so it's just a whole bunch of business owners that connect like this. And so then he like gives me a shout out, and then like a bunch of people jump in the comments that are just like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, like I know Danny's an awesome guy." And it was crazy to see his responses like, "Holy cow, like this guy like knows people." And so just all the more credibility because I've put in the work 9 years ago, had all those conversations, went from 400 contacts in my phone to, let's find out. I'm actually really curious because I know it's going up all the time, to 3,348 contacts. Oh, 2 duplicates count. 2 duplicates found. So let's call it 3,347 contacts in my phone. So from 400 to 3,300 in over 9 years. And I don't know how many that is. Almost 3,000. Yeah, almost 3,000. Let's call it like 2,800 contacts. I'm not a head math person, but basically added 800 contacts into my phone over the last 9 years and done 300 deals. 300, almost 350 now. I don't know. Over 300, let's just call it. And so yeah, this is the time. Oh, if this is your summer, oh man, make it your summer. if you've never done that before, where you just hit the ground and say, I'm going to talk to every single human around and we're going to talk real estate. And I don't care what they want, whether they want to be involved in real estate actively, whether they want to be involved in real estate passively, whether they want to sell me their house, or whether they're just like, nah, real estate is taboo and go away. That's fine. At least they all know. I mean, I even had a conversation yesterday from a guy that I haven't talked to in a long time, that I had a conversation with him years and years and years ago and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what my goals are. Here's the kind of people I'm trying to help. And here's a story to prove like the example of what I'm trying to do. Whether it was my story or someone else's, doesn't matter. But he remembered that. And so he calls me up. I thought it was a butt dial because it rang one time and then just like ended. But I was like, hey, you never miss an opportunity to have a conversation. So I call him right back. And I was like, was this a butt dial? And he's like, no, actually, I was trying to talk to you. I was trying to call you. And so he tells me the story. Like, yeah, my neighbor, right? So this is how, this is how things work. I have this conversation long time ago. And then something happens in their life. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, Daine Clark, right? You want that. This is what you want in your life. So you have so many conversations with people, become friends with everybody. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I was not a friendly person when I first joined Renatus. In fact, I think Michael kind of alluded to this, like crazy shy, afraid to talk to people, afraid to meet people. Like I just wanted to go to the meetings and only see the people that I already knew. I didn't want to meet new people. I didn't want to have conversations. I didn't want to make more friends. I didn't want to add people to my contacts, basically. Anyway, so have that conversation years ago, and so he thinks about me yesterday and calls me out of the blue to tell me the story. Hey, my neighbor is into this house and she is buying it like rent to own. And immediately I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a mess. Anyway, so rent to own, she just got a pre-foreclosure notice on her door that this house is going into foreclosure. So she's making the payment to her landlord. The landlord is not making their payment. And the house is getting foreclosed on, but she has a rent to own agreement on this house. And so there's like, she's got, and it's been 7 years, which tells me this was pre-government shutdowns, which tells me appreciation. Like she has enjoyed a lot of appreciation over the last 7 years. And so almost guaranteed there's a lot of equity for this gal. And all of a sudden it's getting foreclosed on. And so anyway, that's the extent, basically, like pretty much what I was given. And he's like, hey, can you help my neighbor? Because he's like, dude, this is just wrong that she's making her payments, landlord's not making her, and now she's going to lose her home. And it's out of her control because some other person is basically not making their payment. So anyway, there's probably a deal there. We'll see. But who knows? At the end of the day, it created a conversation. How often do you check? Let's see. How often do you check your contacts? Check on your contacts, or do you just meet them once and plant the seed? How are you maintaining all 3,000 odd relationships? I am not. I'm lazy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like I said, you just got to do this once. Like this kid, the realtor that is just hitting the ground running, where he's like, I'm gonna meet this many people. Here's my key indicators of new relationships. I did that once, and I really don't. Like, I know there's all these fancy softwares and fancy sales apps and websites, whatever, to help you like send mailers and content and content and all kinds of stuff. I used to do that. I used to say like, okay, yeah, I gotta try and like just do like what do they call it? A drip. I gotta like drip on. I always hated that term, but I gotta touch bases with everybody every so often. I don't do it anymore because, like I said, the phone just rings and we do real estate deals or raise money even. In fact, I literally had I had a bunch of conversations yesterday. I had another conversation yesterday where one of my clients, basically somebody that I I bought this house and turned around and seller financed it to this gal, super successful business owner, but just can't get a loan to save her life because she writes all of her income off and pays no taxes. But anyway, so we're talking and she goes, hey, like I got a bunch of inheritance money from when my parents passed away. And we were talking about investing and stuff like that. She's like, I just don't feel like Morgan Stanley, whoever it was, whoever that financial planner, I swear she dropped a name, but to me it doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. She's like, I feel like they could have done so much better. And I feel like I should take some of this inheritance money and instead of just give it to a financial planner, like I should invest it in real estate. And she's asking, you know, picking my brain. So all of a sudden, one of my clients that is a seller finance buyer from one of my houses is potentially going to be a passive investor. Again, on my team. Everybody's on my team. Literally everybody is working together for my good, one way or another, and I'm working for theirs, one way or another. It's just how I choose to believe. So anyway, all of a sudden, this gal might become a passive investor. She might instead of just being in the box of, hey, I've got real estate problems, I need your help. She wants to become a passive investor as well. And she even said a couple of things that alluded towards she wants to be kind of active. And so I'm just like, dude, she's probably going to need Renatus. And how that came full circle like that, because obviously the first conversation wasn't, and I'm not saying all of them shouldn't be. It just depends on the person. It depends on their situation. It depends on where they are, what their goals are, what stuff like that. When I first met her, she was just like, I need a house. And so we got her house. But yeah, so Jasmine, again, I'm lazy. I don't keep tabs with all 3,000 of those contacts. Some of them I could probably look through them and be like, I don't even know who that person is anymore. I probably talked to them at one point. I could probably click on their name and click on like new text message and see, you know, the most recent text message we had, even if it was years ago, and be like, oh, okay, and it would all flood back. But I'll tell you one thing, that if that person calls me, I pick up as if we never had a break. It's interesting. Like I've got this, I don't know, phone etiquette, I guess, that I've developed that literally, if I hear like whenever you dial out and call somebody, your phone does that like thing while you're waiting for them to pick up. I have triggered in my brain that noise. Oh, somebody's calling right now, actually. That noise triggers in my brain to smile. When I hear that sound on a phone, and it's funny because even my wife, it's so funny. My wife will sometimes call like, I don't know, her sister or friends or whatever, and she'll put it on speaker. And when she calls out and I hear that dial tone, I cannot help but smile. Literally created a trigger in my brain that triggers smiling. Because when somebody picks up the phone and you can tell, I mean, you probably could place somebody in, you could probably recall somebody that you've talked to on the phone recently or whatever, that when they picked up and they were just like excited that you called, or they were excited that you picked up or whatever, like you probably remembered that. And so I've literally, I cannot help it. When my phone rings, I cannot help but smile. And when I hear the dial tone, when I'm calling outbound calling, I cannot help but smile. That it has just triggered something in my brain. And I love saying their name. And so, or just doing something that produces a smile. So like the guy that calls me yesterday, and it rings once and then doesn't ring again. And I call him right back. I was like, hey, was that a butt dial? Like, and I said it just like that with a big smile on my face so he could like feel my smile almost. And again, guys, I grew up on a dairy farm milking cows. You don't talk to cows like that. It is not, it is not in the DNA of a dairy farmer to act like this. This was learned. This technique or whatever you want to call it. I just chose to be that way. One day decided that, in fact, I think it was my wife. My wife's like, have you ever heard your voicemail? And I bet you I know exactly what it sounded like. Very monotone, very boring, very like nobody would ever want to talk to me after hearing my voicemail. And I bet you it was like moments like that, or even like Michael's when I was doing that uh, testimonial in front of the room once, where Michael was like, you are not allowed on stage ever again if you're gonna talk like that. It woke me up and realized that, oh my gosh, people need energy breathed into them. And so I am going to be a force to be reckoned with. I am going to be the energy that breathes into people around me, because when you are the energy that breathes into people, they breathe it back into you. But also, they're just like, I like this guy. This is a nice guy. And if my neighbor is in trouble real estate, I'm going to call Daine. Anyway, questions, comments?
Uh-huh.
Brian, are you coming off a mute on purpose? Let's see.
Yeah.
Mm, maybe not.
GM Brian. No, not on
Yeah.
purpose.
All right. Anywho, I am the daughter of a dairy farmer. Yes. Oh my gosh, so where we live now, we're on 42 acres here, and all my neighbors, dairy farmers, ranchers, horse people. I mean, and it's so funny because I see the dairy farmers' kids, and I'm just like, holy cow, that was me. Like quiet, shy, very nice and polite, like not trouble kids or any of the sort, but just very quiet, very shy, a little bit socially awkward, but just, gems of people. It reminds me of myself as a kid. And so if you feel like that's you now, that doesn't I am an introvert, and it's just who I am. But I'll tell you one thing that I've just learned, that people need energy breathed into them. And so I decided that I am going to be a force to be reckoned with. I am going to be a force of energy that breathes into other people and helps them, because I noticed that it comes back. 9 times out of 10, it comes back. Daine, how do you handle your calls from marketers and spam? Oh man, I get a lot of those. I mean, if it's somebody local, I try to turn them into a friend. But if it's just, I mean, I'll just hang up on those. If you hear that little beep and then like it's somebody from like India, and they're like, "Hey, your car's warranty is out of what," I'm just like, "Yeah, whatever." Hang up. But yeah, other than that, like I love hearing the phone ring, and I love hearing the dial tone. Puts a smile on my face, so that when I answer, when they answer, that they can hear my smile. And it's interesting because it just works. And it was so funny, like calling that guy back, that I seriously thought it was a butt dial, because like I said, it rang once and then just stopped. Call him right back and be like, "Hey, dude, was that a butt dial?" Let's say it was. Let's say it was a butt dial. Then like Jasmine was asking, like, "Hey, how do you keep tabs on these people?" Like stuff like that. Like if the opportunity just comes up to talk to them, then I'm gonna be like, "Dude, how's it going?" Right? Maybe not like crazy like that. I'm over embellishing how just for training purposes, I'm over embellishing how animated I will be. But I basically will just get animated and make sure that they can hear my smile and that I like them. Like I make it known, like, dude, dude, I haven't seen your name on my phone in a while. Something like, let's say it was a butt dial. I would have turned that into a like, "Man, it's so good to hear from you. Like, what's going on? And how are things?" And all of a sudden we've just furthered our friendship a little bit more. And so, anywho, When you were starting, how did you start and continue your conversation? Oh man. So because I was not, because it didn't come naturally, I had to have an equation. I had to, let's see, what time is it? I had to, where do I want to do this? Do I want to do this on my, I'll just tell you guys. So I had to do the acronym FOR. I was given the acronym FORM form, but I dropped the M because I never got there. I mostly just because I never made it. I mean, most of the time I never even make it to R, right? So FOR, F stands for from and family. And so F, I would ask people where they're from. And it's interesting because that answer could go, where are they from today? Where are they from years ago, from originally, whatever. So where are they from? And it doesn't matter. Like, I just want to know, like, where are you from? And then family. How's the family? Wife, kids, brothers, siblings, whatever. How's the family? O stands for, and this is just when I'm meeting somebody brand new. So I have an opportunity to meet somebody. These are the questions I ask. I want to know where you're from, how's the family, and then O, occupation. And I love the question, and I would say it just like this, like tonality and all, like, oh, you seem like a really sharp gal. What do you do for work? All right, you feel the energy? You feel the difference of like, oh, like, so what do you do for work? Like, oh man, you seem like a sharp gal. What do you do for work? You seem like a sharp guy. What do you do for work? Okay, so occupation, and somebody write that down for me. You seem like a sharp person. Insert. What do you do for work? That's my occupation question. And I like clockwork, right? If I have 3,000 contacts in my phone, I have probably said that 3,000 times. Just like that, word for word, with that tonality. What do you do for work? Right? With that little high at the end thing. It's because it's energy. Anyway, so seem like a sharp, insert. What do you do for work? So occupation, and then R, recreation. And so recreation. Other than work, what are you most passionate about? But again, I rarely even make it to that because I know I've said this before, but those who haven't heard me, like the football analogy. If you are the running back and the quarterback hands you the ball, you have one job. Find an opening in the defense, right? Because you want to run in that way. All of your offensive linemen are trying to basically create a gap in the defense so you can run through it. And if you have that ball, your goal is to just find the gap, right? So I'm not really a football or sports person, but I at least understand that that's how football works. You just try to find the gap in defense. So with real estate or with your conversations, right? Because if you're FORing, and the last one was money. And like I say, sometimes it comes to money, but sometimes it doesn't. But whatever, I would rarely make it to M. And so I usually just say, ask questions for them as my acronym. Anyway, so gap in the defense. With real estate, all you're doing is trying to find the gap that gives you permission to say the words real estate. And that's it. And so in answer to Heidi's question, I just asked those questions. Where are you from? How's the family? Other than, you seem like a sharp person. What do you do for work? And last but not least, if we even make it this far, other than work, what are you most passionate about? But usually, by the time we're from or family, I find the gap of the opportunity to say the words real estate, right? So for example, somebody's like, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, whatever, what's your name? Like, oh, where are you from? Oh my gosh, I'm from Magna. It's like, I already have Magna. Oh my gosh, I have, let's say I've done many deals in Magna. Let's say I had never done a deal in Magna. and someone's like, oh, I'm from Magna. Like, oh my gosh, I have a buddy who just bought a house out in Magna. We just started talking real estate because of where they said they're from. Um, let's say they say, I mean, any city that I've either heard stories of somebody buying a house from their community in that city, or let's start all right. So there's from like right out of the gate can find that gap, can find that opportunity to start bringing the conversation to real estate. Family wise, let's say that they're like, oh yeah, where are you from? And they say some city. I'm like, oh, where is that? I got to Google that. Never heard of it. And so then I'm like, oh yeah, like family, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, like we got, let's say they're like me, like we got 5 kids. I guarantee the first thing I would say, like, oh my goodness, 5 kids. How do you pay for that? You guys invest in real estate? Like, you see where I'm going with this? Just use any opportunity, utilize anything they say that feels natural to bring up real estate one way or another. Because I'm a detective. And my detective work is to just find out what is their relationship to real estate today. I don't care what it is. I just want to know what it is because there's no discrimination against what people's real estate relationship is today. None. I just want to know what it is. And then we act accordingly. All right. So I've just given you a couple examples. So they're like, oh, it's so from family. And I'm finding the opportunity to bring up real estate. Occupation. Oh, other than work, what are you most passionate about? And they start telling me what they're doing for work. Like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm trying to think of real life examples of when people have told me about what they're doing. So I had one guy that was like, he was like beating his chest. He's like, oh yeah, like we do all this, I can't remember what it was, but high income earner, basically. He's a W-2 job, high income earner. And I couldn't help but just be like, oh my gosh, like, so do you also invest in real estate? Because he's telling me how well he does in his W-2 job. And so I'm just like, oh, dude, well, you should be doing like, basically I'm alluding to like, dude, you should be doing real estate. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, so do you do real estate too? And if they're like, no, why? I'd be like, well, most of the time when I meet people that are really successful, they are also doing real estate, investing, not realtors, like investing, like they are investors. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, man, maybe I should. but regardless, the conversation has gone to real estate. And so Heidi, like that's your job. You are a detective. All you want to do is find out what is their relationship to real estate. And there's only 4 relationships that they can have down to the bare bones. They can have a passive relationship to real estate where they like real estate, but they want to be passively involved. Those people you raise money from. They like real estate, but they want to be actively involved. And that person, you're like, dude, come and meet my friends. Come and meet my Renatus family. If you want to be actively involved in real estate, like look at all these tens upon tens of thousands of students across the country that also want to be actively involved in real estate, and they want to share ideas and they want to share resources and they want to share connections and share credibility even. I think Michael talked about that, where if you don't have your own stories, use mine. If you don't have your own stories, use Michael's. If you don't have your own stories, use each other's. Borrow each other's credibility. And so anyway, come and meet my friends. If you want to be actively involved in real estate, it takes a village. Join the village, right? So, or the third one is they don't like real estate because they're like, oh, real estate, pain in my. So the colleague from yesterday, like, oh man, I've got this rent to own and I'm paying on time, but my landlord obviously isn't because I just got the notice of default on my front door. And so problem, like emergency, right? So the third one is they have real estate problems and you need to solve it, or you have an opportunity to solve it. Or let's say it's I had another person call me yesterday Man, I did have a ton of conversations yesterday. I had another person call me yesterday and say, hey, I've got a friend who owns 2 houses free and clear, and he wants to bulldoze them and build multi-unit structure. And I was just like, that's not my cup of tea. And so here, meet this other Renatus student that is his cup of tea, AKA, and this particular person is in the same city as the Renatus land development instructor. And so was able to be like, hey, talk to this guy, or here's another guy that's basically been studying under the Renatus instructor, because they're in the same area. But yeah, not my cup of tea. So it was like, I've got this huge family of real estate investors across the nation that I can send referrals for. So that person, like, hey, got a property with a problem. I've got free and clear houses, but his problem is it's not good enough. He wants to build multi-unit, bulldoze the place. And so I'm like, hey, call this guy. So anyway, property with a problem, either you help them or you refer somebody else out to help them. And I send lots of referrals because I get calls all the time. And I try to cookie cutter do my niche kind of things, and anything that's not in my niche, refer it out to somebody else. And so I love meeting people. In fact, if you look at my phone book, the 400 contacts I had originally, it probably just has like a name and a number. But if you look at contacts that I put in my phone like yesterday from people that I just met, like I'm like putting notes. I'm like, oh, this guy's a realtor. He's a newbie. He wants to, get into investing someday. Here's how I met him. Like all kinds of details about them I'm putting in my phone. So I can remember why I talk to them and what they want and what, I shared with them what I want, and so on and so forth. And so then sometimes that person just becomes a referral partner. That person, because they're box number 2, they are actively involved in real estate too, but I haven't really nothing else for them because they're already a student. Like I met that, so the person I referred for the land development, like he is actively involved in real estate. He's already a Renatus student. So there's nothing else I can give him unless I send him a referral like I did yesterday. Anyway, so we talked about the first 3: passively involved in real estate, actively involved in real estate, some kind of property problem. And the last one is, let's say we're having that conversation and let's say I'm trying to think of real life examples. I was like, oh yeah, real estate. And they're like, oh, true story. Oh, real estate. Man, Dane, I do not touch real estate with a 10-foot pole. Like I'll tell you right now, I bought a bunch of or a handful of houses because some company was selling me on the idea of done for you real estate. And I bought these houses out in Mideastern United States for like 20, 30 grand. And the company that sold them to me fixed them up and put tenants in them. And so I already had a tenant, and they were the property management company. And I'll tell you, rent would come in, and then the bill also came in that, oh, this time the roof needed fixing. Oh, this time the water heater needed fixing. Oh, this time the toilet needed unplugging. And so like I would literally get $30. And he's like, and I paid cash for these houses. And so there was no more, like I would literally get nothing because the property management company just would suck everything up because the house needed all this stuff apparently. And he's like, I freaking lost my. And so he's just like, real estate, like taboo. No, get away from me with your real estate conversations, basically. And I was like, dude, that's great. I love when somebody starts spewing negativity about real estate like that. Because and my favorite question. Oh, here, last one is, last box is not interested. Not interested. Somebody type all those out for me, like in one fancy, if you will. Passive, active, property with a problem, and then not interested. And my favorite question for the not interested is, sounds like there's a story there. It's not even a question technically. And I love when somebody's like, oh, real estate, get away from me. I'm just like, oh my goodness, sounds like there's a story there. And then all of a sudden we become friends because I listen to their story and they tell me all this, whatever, this and that, and person did their, blah, blah. My great uncle's nephew's cousin, whatever, got into real estate and he had a bad experience. And so I don't want to touch real estate. Like, it sounds like a dumb story, but I mean, I don't tell them that, but that's an easy one to overcome because you don't have real life experience in this. So you're just going off of somebody else's. Like, well, here, let me give you a positive experience to now associate real estate to. But regardless, so like true story, that guy that was like, oh yeah, I bought those houses over there and blah, I'm not touching real estate. That actually turned into where eventually that guy and his wife became passive investors because the real estate, they were like, blah, and I still became friends. I heard their story. And then 2 years later, they call me up and are like, hey, you still doing real estate? Yes, I am. And they're just like, I think I want to do some of the stuff that you were doing. Are you still, can we still do the opportunity that you talked about? And we started doing deals together. Years later, sure. But I mean, their time, not mine. I'm doing real estate today. They're doing real estate whenever they want. And I just talk to the next person and the next person and the next person until all of a sudden, they're like, someone's like, oh my gosh, like I've been praying for you, right? Right? You're looking for that person today, sure. Like, oh my gosh, like where did you come from? I've been literally praying for you to come into my life. And you help that person today. But everybody else is like, man, I like Jenny. I like Brian. I like Pat. I like Gilda. Because you had a pleasant conversation with them and breathed energy into them because you were genuinely interested, because you weren't just like monotone, like, hello. It's like, no, you smile when you talk to them on the phone. Doesn't matter. If they can't see your smile, they can hear it. And so anyway, I'm trying to remember why we met here. Somebody was asking, somebody asked a question. Oh, when you were just starting, how did you start and continue your conversations? That was it. I am a detective, and my one job is to find out which relationship do they have with real estate today. I don't discriminate which one it is. I just want to know which one it is, and then I will act accordingly. And I think you guys, thank you both, Bruce and Michael, for putting those. But whichever one of those four that they are, just act accordingly. And so if they say passive, then you start raising money. If they say active, then you say, man, meet my village. If they say property with a problem, you say, send me the address. If they say not interested, then you get the story and say, you know what, I like you. Or get them basically to say that because you're a listening ear and you hear them and you breathe positive energy into them. And then they remember you and call you years later and say, hey, my neighbor's got a problem. My neighbor is a number 3 property with a problem. And then you help the neighbor. And so anyway, I hope that's making sense. Every human will fall into one of those 4 boxes, one of those 4 categories. I've never met a single human that is outside of those 4. Put it that way. And I just find what they are. Key to life, physical and business. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so yeah, like I said, I mean, just yesterday I had those 4 conversations and I met, let's see, my client was basically alluding towards they want to be passive. The realtor obviously wants to be active. I mean, he doesn't want to be a student yet because he's dialed. And so I don't want to derail him at all, but I guarantee we will be having more of the passive or the active conversation at some point because I made a friend, right? So I had the conversation with an active, had a conversation with a property with a problem. I'm trying to remember if I even had one in the 4th box yesterday. But yeah, so yesterday in one day I had a conversation with all 3 categories that have potential action steps. Just yesterday. And so just copy me. Find out what everybody is. If you only have 400 contacts in your phone, just go double it and see what happens. And take notes. Take notes in all of your contact on basically why they're in there. And so, oh, yeah, thank you, Bruce. Love it. Let's see. All right, we're 9:30. More comments, questions? Anything I can do to help you guys?
No, this has been great, man. Perspective, the actionable steps. Where are they? What to say to them? What to think? It's a perfect flow. You've been a great example of that. And so, folks, we want to get some reports next week from you about how it happened. Did it take you a week to have a conversation in each category, or can you do it all in one day? One other thing that we're going to be doing, I think will be helpful for all of us, is putting like a depository or like a cache of the questions throughout the week. And then you and I can go and pull up those questions, answer them on the recording, and then people can come back and forth and get them. Instead of just grabbing the questions from the live Zoom, we'll grab throughout the week from the members. So yeah, so be looking forward to that, guys. And then I'll put a spot where you can enter your questions, because sometimes you don't think about them on the call, and then you're like, oh, I wanted to ask that. So we'll now make a spot for you guys to put all that in there.
Love it. Awesome.
Cool. It just keeps getting better, guys.
Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, go have conversations. Enjoy them. Breathe energy into others. And it is insane that it does not drain yours. Like after a call like today, like I'm an introvert. Like I'm not going to go and like be like this all day. But for some reason, these Wednesday mornings, when I get up and I say, I am going to breathe energy into all of you, oh, it just energizes me. I look forward to these big time because I can breathe energy into other people. And it, for some reason, energy is like, it doesn't suck. It's a duplicator. When you breathe it into others, it duplicates in yourself. Such an interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, kind of like fire, lighting other people's candles.
Exactly. So go breathe energy into other people.
Fired up, folks. All right. Well, thanks, Daine. Great seeing everybody here. And we got our launch for the Flip Challenge happening tomorrow. So go make your calls, ask your questions, and talk to more people. Bye for now.